Harish Salve, the winning counsel for the Vodafone tax case. Remember, Harish Salve was the one who represented Vodafone in that case. And 3 days after the government brought in a retrospective legislation that may indeed force Vodafone to pay up taxes, Harish Salve spoke to the one channel that matters, and that's ET Now. He did say that Vodafone may look at legal recourse outside of India. He also said that throwing a final Supreme Court verdict out of consequence is unfair by the Indian government. The government's credibility and honesty is at stake right now, and FDI, he said, looks for certainty, commitment and also honesty, one that he believes right now is missing in India. More from Harish Salve himself. With me, the one man who knows taxation and the whole Vodafone case better than anybody else, and that's of course Harish Salve. Thank you very much for speaking to us. This isn't something that has gone down well with either the investor community or legal like you. A retrospective change in the tax laws mean that cases like Vodafone, or for that matter the Vodafone case, can perhaps be relooked at. You won the case for them. The Supreme Court has ruled no taxation to be paid by Vodafone, but here the Finance Ministry insists they might have to pay a tax. First, what's your take on this? And do you think there is a legal recourse at all available if they go behind these guys?
I don't want to comment on legal recourse because I've had some initial discussions. As a citizen of India, I'm a little worried. From a socialist regime which used to retrospectively correct laws, we went to an advance ruling regime, where before your transaction, you could find out your tax implications. If final judgments of the Supreme Court are thrown away like this, what is the credibility of your advance ruling? And I was outside the country, I had some meetings, and foreign clients asked me, does this mean that they can also retrospectively rule in relation to advance ruling? I said, of course they can. He said, but then what's the meaning of an advance ruling? So we get an advance ruling, we enter into the transaction, and for removal of doubts you will change the law. I said, of course they will. It's the intention and the honesty of the government.
So what you're here saying is essentially something that is also worrying the investor community. Many people believe that rules can be changed after transactions have been done. But the one logic that Finance Ministry seems to give when we put up this question to them is that this is going to dent foreign investors and their confidence. They say that FDI looks for profits and not for zero taxation regimes.
FDI looks for certainty. FDI looks for commitment. FDI looks for a degree of honesty. Do you have any doubt that when Vodafone fought this case, they did it on assurance that it will be fought fair and square? If the law taxes you, you will be taxed. If the law doesn't tax you, you won't be taxed. If they wanted to make this retrospective amendment, the least they could have done is save Vodafone 4 years of pain, of litigation. It doesn't, in today's world, in today's global world, where China is looking at the Vodafone judgment to see how they can sort of, if necessary, soften their laws and come in line. We are going back to socialist days where we used to say, oh, tax is all, public expenditure is all, and profits have to be ruthlessly taxed. It's a message you're sending to the investor community, and despite the brave front which the department is putting up, you've seen what's happened to the markets on Friday afternoon when the news sneaked out.
And even today.
And you've seen what's happened today. I have been in some meetings in London where people are extremely concerned. They're not concerned about Vodafone. They're not concerned about 3 billion. They are concerned about India as a regime you can trust.
That's a question that I want to put forward to you, because you're also somebody who's seen litigation happen over many years. This essentially opens cases as back as 1962. Do you expect the government to actually go out there and unearth those kind of cases? I mean, this is a Pandora's box. They've got perhaps...
I believe they have quite a list of cases which have happened in the last 5-6 years. One of my arguments in Vodafone was that look at all the earlier takeovers by Hutchison Whampoa. They bought it from Bergstag, they bought it from the Swiss company, etc. And there was no tax.
But
and the control over those little segments of shares of Indian company all passed. Now the law, the way it has been drafted, is so wide. I don't know, they'll go chasing everybody. Now we are in the Don Quixote mode. You see a windmill, you'll tilt at it.
Some people will actually say we're in some sort of a banana republic. But doesn't this also put the executive head on with the judiciary? I mean, here is the apex court. A judgment has been delivered. Everybody's looked at the judgment. And then the executive goes and makes changes with retrospective effect.
One thing I would say with a degree of sadness. 3 judges given a judgment which is erudite, which is well considered. You may think it's wrong, you may think it is right. Some people say it's wrong, some people say it's right. To say for removal of doubts, as though those three judges didn't understand the plain language of Parliament. You've not painted your own Supreme Court in great glory in the world. I think the government owed a little more respect to the Supreme Court. I'm not on powers of Parliament. Of course, Parliament has the power to make retrospective laws. I am on how institutions work. Aren't we seeing how England is running its economy? Aren't we seeing how Obama is running his economy? Is this the time? And let me also say one thing. When you say foreign investors will come, yes, they possibly will. Foreign investors go to the Republic of Congo also. Foreign investors go to Nigeria.
That's right.
But what returns do they look for? There is a huge cost of uncertainty which will now be factored into India investment.
The contrarian view from the finance ministry is that this might create the certainty that foreign investors were looking for. How much do you bash that argument?
The certainty would have been created if the law was prospective. The uncertainty is created by the untrustworthiness which the government has shown.
You won the biggest case for Vodafone, perhaps as far as taxation is concerned. I'm sure your client has gotten in touch. I know you will not divulge due to confidentiality what they want to do next, but do we expect some kind of a legal recourse? I mean, I'm just talking to you from a legal point of view. Is there a legal recourse available in a situation like this?
Well, all sorts of legal recourse is available, not necessarily in India.
Thank you very much for speaking to us.